An encounter in the skies that could have had catastrophic consequences, a Chinese fighter jet flying dangerously close to a U.S. military plane in international airspace. What really happened during this tense moment, and what does it mean for global security? Stay tuned as we unpack every detail of this dramatic incident. It was a clear day over the South China Sea when tensions soared to new heights. A Chinese J-16 fighter jet closed in on a U.S. RC-135 reconnaissance aircraft. The encounter occurred in international airspace, but the proximity was alarming. The fighter jet reportedly flew just a few meters from the U.S. plane. The United States claims its aircraft was conducting lawful operations. Meanwhile, China accuses the U.S. of provocations in a region it considers its sphere of influence. The South China Sea has long been a flashpoint of geopolitical tension, with China claiming vast swathes of the sea and the United States championing freedom of navigation. Encounters like these are becoming increasingly frequent and risky. This isn't the first time such an incident has occurred. In recent years, military aircraft from both nations have come dangerously close, raising concerns about accidental escalations. Flying this close in high-speed, high-stakes situations is not just risky, it's potentially deadly. A single miscalculation could lead to a mid-air collision, escalating into an international crisis. A Chinese Navy jet intercepted a U.S. Air Force reconnaissance plane in an incident over the South China Sea last week, U.S. Indo-Pacific Command said Thursday. A People's Liberation Army Navy J-11 fighter pilot performed an unsafe maneuver during an intercept of a U.S. Air Force RC-135 aircraft, which was lawfully conducting routine operations over the South China Sea in international airspace. The planned pilot flew an unsafe maneuver by flying in front of and within 20 feet of the nose of the RC-135, forcing the RC-135 to take evasive maneuvers to avoid a collision. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Joint Force is dedicated to a free and open Indo-Pacific region and will continue to fly, sail, and operate at sea and in international airspace, with due regard for the safety of all vessels and aircraft under international law. We expect all countries in the Indo-Pacific region to use international airspace safely and in accordance with international law. Potential flashpoint. Over the past several years, the South China Sea has emerged as a major potential flashpoint in the Asia-Pacific. Islands in it, like the Paracels near which the U.S. Navy plane was intercepted Friday, are the subject of overlapping territorial claims, in part from China, the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan. Not only does the strategic waterway hold vast resources of fish, oil, and gas, but about a third of global shipping passes through it, worth about $3.4 trillion in 2016, according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, China Power Project. China claims historic jurisdiction over almost the entirety of the vast sea, and since 2014 has built up tiny reefs and sandbars into artificial islands heavily fortified with missiles, runways, and weapons systems, sparking outcry from the other claimants. The Paracel Islands, called the Shisha Islands by China, are in the northern part of the South China Sea, east of Da Nang, Vietnam, and south of China's Hainan Island. Named by 16th-century Portuguese mapmakers, they have no indigenous population to speak of, only Chinese military garrisons amounting to 1,400 people, according to the CIA fact book. Surrounding them is 12 nautical miles of airspace that China was claiming as its own, Friday a claim Washington doesn't recognize. Far to the southeast sits the Spratly Islands chain, just 186 miles from the Philippine island of Palawan. In 2016, In a case brought by the Philippines, an international tribunal in The Hague ruled that China's claim to historic rights to the bulk of the sea had no legal basis. But Beijing has rejected the tribunal's ruling and continued its military buildup. Building bases in the Spratlys, which it calls the Nansha Islands. China also conducts regular military exercises in much of the South China Sea and maintains a large presence of Coast Guard and fishing vessels in the disputed waters, which has frequently stoked tensions with its neighbors. On Friday, while flying close to the Philippines, the U.S. Navy P-8 spotted a PLA Navy guided missile destroyer and descended to around 1,000 feet to get a closer look, bringing more warnings from the PLA. U.S. aircraft, this is Chinese Naval Warship 173. You are approaching to me at low altitude. State your intention, over. A voice comes over the U.S. plane's radio. PLA Warship 173 is the destroyer Changsha, likely armed with dozens of surface-to-air missiles. The U.S. plane will keep a safe distance. Its pilot, Lieutenant Slaughter, replies. U.S. aircraft, this is Chinese Naval Warship 173. You are clearly endangering my safety. You are clearly endangering my safety, the Chinese ship says. I am a United States military aircraft. I will maintain a safe distance from your unit, Slaughter replies, and the U.S. mission continues. International allies and organizations are now weighing in, with many calling for de-escalation and adherence to international airspace laws. So, what's next? Both nations have an opportunity to engage in constructive dialogue to prevent future incidents. Confidence-building measures and adherence to international norms are more crucial than ever. The skies should unite us, not divide us. It's up to global leaders to ensure that high-stakes encounters like this one don't lead to catastrophic outcomes. What are your thoughts on this high-stakes encounter? Should stricter protocols be enforced to prevent such incidents? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis of global events. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.